This is a very special board. Created with breaking the norms in mind, the Tenet A7III pushes boundaries in terms of the functionality and design of this everyday desk tool. Striking accent pieces and functional aesthetic choices make this board a very strong contender for the idea of an endgame. But a norm-breaking vision also comes with a norm-breaking price. This video is brought to you by PCBWay. PCBWay is an easy way to get high-quality PCBs, CNC machining, and 3D printing done to your own specifications. Their fast turnaround times and instant quote feature make it incredibly easy to get parts made and delivered for any of your engineering projects. Additionally, they have an assembly service to have your custom PCBs built without any hassle. Check the link in the description for more information. Tenet is a reversible 70% keyboard. It's a 60% with a nav cluster, but you can choose to put this nav cluster on the left or right side. We've got some very talented designers working on this. You've got your choice of hot swap PCB, which supports stepped caps, or soldered PCB, which supports stepped caps, split left shift, split right shift, split backspace, or ISO enter. Both have daughter boards as expected. Also get this, instead of our standard QMK and VIA, Tenet has custom software created by the team that worked on the N Pro. With this, you can configure the OLED to display almost anything you want, which I'll demonstrate in a little bit. You have the choice of polycarbonate, aluminum, FR4 and brass for plates, and for colors, we are looking at black, navy, light green, e-beige, e-pink, e-gold, and e-red. If you're too bougie for the aluminum weight, you can go with the brass one. However, this will run you $100 over the standard price of $450 USD. A complex design is a complex build. First, we've got some TX stabs looped with 205 grade 0 and lightly with XHG BTZ. The PCB is extra thin this time around, so you will want to use these stab shims included with the board. We'll add in the plate silicone, polycarbonate plate, and SOTCs looped with 205 grade 0. Now everyone's favorite part, gaskets. This board has a lot of gaskets in strange places, so be sure to thoroughly look at the build guide. oops, I actually put too much here. We also need to add acrylic diffusers to these LED holes and light blocking foam. And on the other side as well. Not as perfect of an application, but it'll do. I also want to tear off the protective film on the OLED first. I'll put the nav cluster over the OLED and connect its ribbon cable. This part isn't easy, so be patient with it. Next, I'll install the main PCB and connect it to the nav cluster with a small ribbon cable. I found the easiest way to complete the assembly is by inserting the case foam sheet, attaching the daughterboard cable, moving the case foam sheet onto the PCBs, then putting the bottom case on top. Be very careful to not disconnect the OLED cable. 8 screws and the case is done. For keycaps, I'm throwing on CRP round 4 with red acrylic alphas, a great complement to the beige color of the board. If it's not the presentation of the packaging or the sound profile, the design is what gets you about the Tenet. It's complex, to say the least. On the top, we have fairly large bezels and of course our OLED display. This can be configured through OpenSkit software to display text, images, or monitor your computer status. Very neat. Also, a CPM monitor and a key map. To the left and right of the alpha area are 2 LEDs. The function of these are both changeable in the software. And that's not to mention that the whole board has RGB underglow. This thing really is packed with features. I just wish there was a way to make the clock 12-hour time for the rest of us. Side profiles are fairly basic, for the top aluminum part at least. The large brass weight adds angle to the whole board, poking out at the back. There's a bit of branding here around the center recessed USB port. And finally, the bottom is where the design shines. Firstly, the bottom left has this classy looking logo that I really like. There are some interesting looking cutouts around the screw holes, and the USB section of the weight has an almost Egyptian style Tenet engraving. This is likely inspired by the Sator square, a 5-word palindrome in every direction. Definitely goes along with the reversible aspect. Not only is this part of the weight the focal point of the board, it's plated with 24 karat gold, while the rest of the weight is bead blasted. Crazy. And not only are there unique external visuals, there's some smart internal choices that make this board reversible. And though I really don't like the internal design too much, that's all that it is anyway. Given the premium materials used for the board, there aren't any unpleasant surprises in terms of quality. Everything looks great. Enough said. But the feel and sound are where this board start to falter. This board is stiffer than the $60 GAS 67 we reviewed last week. Although this isn't necessarily a bad thing, for an expensive gasket board that has a polycarbonate plate, it certainly isn't something I was expecting. There isn't a lot of internal space, and the thick plate silicone probably also doesn't help much. For those of you expecting any sort of bounce, you should probably turn your attention elsewhere. And what this board excels in design, it counteracts with sound quality. This is the case a lot of the time. It's incredibly hard to carry out complicated aesthetics without unintentionally compromising in sound quality. Although it isn't offensive, I definitely wouldn't put it on the top of my list, especially knowing SOTCs can sound great in other boards. It's on the higher pitch side, but I really can't look past the deadness, so I think an aluminum plate would be best. There's a lot to say about this board, and I think a lot of it is said without words at all. It's an eye-catcher, and there aren't a whole lot of those these days. Is the brass version worth the $500,000? Are most of the boards priced at $500,000 worth $500,000? Interesting question, but this is one of the rare cases where I think, just maybe, it might be.